We're now at the moment in our morning when I give a little bit of what I'm calling Judaism 101 or Bissel Torah, a little bit of Torah, not devoted entirely to my topic that I'll be speaking about in a moment, which is this complex topic of spiritual liberation. I want to point out, as we prepare for Pesach, the origin of matzot. In the Exodus story, and I recommend that everybody read in preparation for Passover, from Exodus chapter 12 to Exodus chapter 15. Of course, you can go as far back as you want or forward as you want, but minimally, everybody study Exodus 12 to Exodus 15 with a commentary. So one thing you'll see in Exodus 12, that in the beginning of Exodus 12, where there's the discussion of the Paschal lamb that is to be sacrificed for every household, it then mentions in an almost offhand way that this is now in verse 8, Exodus chapter 12, verse 8, they shall eat the flesh on this night roasted in fire, with matzot, with sliesh umatzot al mirorim yochluhu. So with matzot and with maror, they shall eat it. No commentary is taken for granted. This tells us that this is a meal that people already knew about, and they were just given the particular instructions. So this is before the Exodus from Egypt. They were still sitting in Egypt. They had not yet left Egypt, and they're commanded to eat matzot. Now, later on in the chapter, it gives us the other reason for matzot, is that they, as it were, prepared the dough. It didn't have a chance to rise, so they put it in their packs and they left Egypt, and because it didn't rise, it was matzot. I think that's barely credible from a culinary or even historical perspective, but it seems that in these two sources, one source wanted to give an historical reason for the matzot, which means connected to the Exodus, and another source was repeating a tradition of a pre-existing spring festival where, for generations perhaps, matzot was already a part of this communal dinner. So I want to speak very briefly about what I'll call the original matzot, not the matzot of the journey out, again, which I don't think is entirely credible, but the matzot in the first description. Why would matzot be part of this dinner, this meal, that the community would gather around, eat the Paschal lamb, the matzot, and the maror? I've taught this many times, just want to repeat it again. By the way, the source is Theodore Gaster, Festivals of the Jewish Year, Theodore Gaster, Festival of the Jewish Year. He says, very briefly, the reason you eat the Paschal lamb and you make sure to burn it till morning, so none of the meat goes rotten. The meal of the community where God is present has to be a meal of purity. Therefore, we need to be in a state of purity, and the food needs to be in a state of purity. What is matzah? Unleavened bread does not go bad. If you put matzah in the cupboard, you come back a year later, it'll still be matzah. Not so with bread. So the origin of matzah seems to be that it was in a meal of purity where the meat couldn't go bad. The matzah was pure from leaven that eventually can rot the bread. Maror, as a purgatory, which means anything that was that could turn into putrefaction, was burnt, as it were, out of the intestines. And of course, we needed to be in a pure state. That probably was an antecedent festival, and the exodus from Egypt occurred at the same time, because remember, Moses was originally asking Pharaoh that we might go out into the desert to observe our festival to God. So there was a pre-existent festival that the Exodus was then layered on top of. And if one reads this very carefully, you can tease out what we'll call the original festival from the historical festival commemorating the Exodus from Egypt.